love wiffle ball. No other way to explain it. Just something about the game, the feel of the grass, smacking that ball all over the field, making plays, diving head first, whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what wiffle ball means to me. Striking out grown men, watching their knees buckle on a called third strike. Sit out, bud. And then, of course, the home runs, the base hits, the big home runs at the big moments. That's a whiff of greatness. Join us all season long for the Joe Aguirre Story, a CMG podcast.
Thank you, Joe. And you know, when we're talking about wiffle ball, spring is here, and obviously with spring here, we know we have one of the best weeks on the sports calendar this week, and this week definitely is. It always is every year one of the best weeks on the sports calendar. Welcome to Sports Talk with Nar and Jay. I'm Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio. As I said, we got one of the best weeks on the sports calendar. And how about the Patriots? They came out swinging in free agency. I mean, they had a ton of cap space, and they took full advantage of it. I mean, they went out, they signed Matt Judon. They signed the two tight ends, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. They signed Nelson Aguilar. They signed Jalen Mills. They signed that run stopper. I can't pronounce. I don't think I can pronounce it.
Like Prodax or something.
Yeah, the guy from Miami. They signed him. They got Kendrick Bourne. So they really they had a lot of holes on that roster last year. They really loaded up in free agency. And this Patriot team, I think, with all these moves, even if Cam becomes the starting quarterback, I think this team's an 8-9 win team. I don't think this team makes the playoffs, but I think this team is close to making the playoffs. But I think this is an 8-9 win team. I think this is a team that this is a team that is definitely better. I think definitely on the defensive side of the ball, because remember they're going to get Patrick Chung, they're going to get Dante Hightower back. Now they got Matt Judon as a pass rusher. You got that run stuffer in the middle now. So I think this defense could very easily be a top 10 defense. On the offensive side of the definitely going to be improved. Obviously they'll be able to run the ball with Damian Harris, but I think with the two tight end set, they'll play a lot of 12 personnel with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. So they'll run the ball, play a lot of 12 personnel, and I don't think this is a playoff team because you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting at quarterback. The quarterback's a big question mark. Will Cam improve in year 2, or are they going to draft a rookie quarterback? So the quarterback's a question mark. So I don't have this as a playoff team, but I definitely think this is a team that has improved. I think this is an 8-9 win team. But Justin, I got a couple questions for you. With these moves, are the Patriots the best team in the AFC East?
No, not quite. I think I have them right there with Miami. I have them as a 9-10 win team. And actually, in the last hour, they just signed Ted Karras back at center, like 1 year, $4 million deal, and Carl Davis.
Is Karras re-signed with the Dolphins or with the Patriots?
No, he came back to New England.
Yeah, that's a downgrade over David Andrews.
Because now it's like Andrews probably gone, which I thought it sounded like they were going to sign him.
And I've heard Miami is in on Andrews too.
That's what I heard, which that would hurt even worse. But I have them right there with Miami, 9-10 win team. I think Bill, like last year, could steal us a couple games, But I really enjoy this, or I'm really gonna like seeing this defense. Jalen Mills can play all over the field, and Bill loves to move guys all over the place, and I think he's gonna be a really solid addition. Matt Judon, I can't wait. I know the last few years he's been down, but I can't wait to see what Bill can do with him. And you get Hightower back. It sounds like maybe they even go after Kyle Van Noy again. So it sounds like that linebacker position could be pretty good once again. So I'm excited for that. I think our defense would be really, really good. It's the offense. Now, I remember Cam used to love throwing at Greg Olsen back in Carolina. And that was a huge thing for him. Again, use Hunter Henry and Smith, 5-6 yard outs or something. Like, something like that. I'm kind of thinking, or really run heavy, because Bourne and Aguilar, they don't really move the needle for me because they're not number one guys. I was kind of hoping for like a
Aguilar could stretch the field though. He had like I think 18 yards per catch last year receiving. So he could stretch the field. Aguilar. He had a pretty good. I'm not saying Derek Carr made him a little bit better than he was, but he did have a pretty good year with the Raiders last year.
Yeah, I know the drops have been probably like Cam can't really throw deep is the only
that's the problem
issue. Yeah. So I was kind of maybe hoping for a Samuel, but again, it's better than what we have though. So I'm not, sitting here. It's better than what we have, But yeah, I think this is a playoff team. I think it's a 9-win team. Again, I could see him finishing second, but I still think they're 2-3 games back of Buffalo.
Yeah. And you answered my question. They are a playoff team, but are they Super Bowl contenders?
I think I could see him getting the AFC Championship game with Bill Belichick on the sideline, but I don't see them going to Kansas City and winning. I could see him going anywhere else in January and winning it, stealing it, going there and winning, but I just can't see him going to KC. So I'm like, if I think they could get the AFC Championship game, I guess they can be, but if it's Kansas City that they got to face in the AFC Championship game, they're not better than Kansas City at this point. No way that Cam Newton goes in the Arrowhead and beats Patrick Mahomes. No way.
To be honest, I don't think they're better than Kansas City. I don't think they're better than Baltimore. I don't think they're better than Buffalo. I don't think they're better than Tennessee. I don't even think with Justin Herbert and seeing what the Chargers did in free agency, I don't think they're better than them. I think they're still in the middle of the pack in the AFC. Yeah, there might be a game or two better with these moves, and yeah, this roster is still, with the quarterback play, a roster that with most coaches would be 500, but with Bill, you probably give him that extra win. But I still think this is a team that's a fringe playoff team, and I still don't think this is a playoff team. But what I like what they did was, and it shows you they could be, they could be having Cam Newton they could be planning on having Cam Newton as the starter this year. Is they built the team around Cam's strengths with the two tight ends, with Jonas Smith and Hunter Henry. And the run game. So then they saw the success. You said it, the success he had in Carolina in 2015 with the run game and Greg Olsen. So they definitely built this team around Cam Newton's strength. And I wrote an article the other day that I didn't love the Cam Newton signing, but I think one of the reasons why they signed Cam Newton is this could attract free agents to New England, and it absolutely has.
Oh yeah, totally. It definitely has. And it's something too where, yeah, Bill really hasn't been a huge spender here in the free agent market, but yeah, this year with Cam, I think, and I'm not really surprised. I think Bill's kind of, after last year, I really think he wants to prove a point to the league that, it's not all Brady, I did have some, I did have a hand in this thing as too here. So yeah, it definitely helped that, again, I know they didn't get any great players, but I think they got a bunch of solid players that have made them better and have made the team around them better. Look, the offense cannot be any worse than it did last year. It's an upgrade. The pieces that they've got, they have tried to help Cam around them. And hopefully with now a whole off season, getting to know learning the playbook and everything, he does better than he did last year because he can't really play any worse.
No, we can't. And the thing is, yeah, Belichick absolutely had a hand in what happened. But I just think Brady had more of a hand in why it was definitely more responsible for what happened. But Belichick definitely had a huge hand in it too. But yeah, I think, and a big reason why I think the Pats made a lot of these moves is I think a lot of teams were hamstrung financially because of with the pandemic. They really couldn't spend money, and the Patriots had money, so they were willing to spend money, and they went on a complete sprint. They took advantage of an unprecedented situation, just like the Patriots usually do. They took advantage of an unprecedented situation. Yes, it's not what the Patriots normally do, but I feel like it's something the Patriots had to do to get back into contention.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Bill understood that. And I think, yeah, with the pandemic and with, having so much cap space, why you're seeing teams really struggle to get under it right now. He's able to go kind of take advantage of that. Yeah. And be able to spend and, because because the draft picks haven't panned out like they did in the beginning for him. It just hasn't worked out. So yeah, trying to find this new formula now for Bill, hopefully signing all these free agents. Yeah. Taking advantage of having all this money to spend and actually spending it, was a huge thing. So, yeah, it's definitely been a great thing for Bill and the Patriots right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're looking like a team that, say somehow they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Now you're looking at a 10-11 win football team, a team that can compete with the Bills for the AFC's title. So, yeah, this is huge to see the Patriots, spend all this money in free agency, and really improve a roster that was definitely lacking last year. I mean, a roster that had a very weak front seven, had very weak skill guys in the passing game around Cam Newton. Now this roster is improved, and one thing we know about the Patriots is they're going to be competitive this year. The only issue though is going to be what's going to happen in the first round. Are they going to take a quarterback? I still think with Cam Newton, they have to take a quarterback in the first round. Personally, I still think so because I don't think Cam Newton's good enough to win a Super Bowl with. So I think they have to take a quarterback in the first round this year. But the Patriots might have the thought process of let's continue to improve our roster and go all in with Cam Newton. That's going to be the interesting thing they do. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with the number 15, what they do with the number 15 pick.
Yeah, and what I've been reading, it really sounds like they want to trade up and go get a quarterback in the first round, which it's for me, I rather, if possible, go trade for Jimmy Garoppolo more than go, because I don't know if any of these other guys are going to be franchise quarterbacks. But after Trevor Lawrence,
and Jace put up a comment. This is what Brady wanted them to do all along. Of course, this is exactly what Brady wanted them to do. And he took pay cuts for them to do this, but the Patriots, didn't want to be the team that had a lot of bad contracts for years. And, Brady was able to cover up, being inactive in free agency and not drafting well for a long time. But they realized last year at 7-9, they needed talent on this roster because without it, they were not going to be Super Bowl contenders for years.
No, yeah, it was a terrible year, and you just tell by the offense last year, just not having because we had pretty much the same weapons we did in Brady's final year here, and we still won 11-12 games. Last year we won 7.
Quarterback made a big difference, though.
Yes,
quarterback was a big difference, and I thought actually, to be honest, you ran the ball better in 2020 than you did in 2019.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about because I would just stack the box with 8-9 guys every time and just can't beat us. But yeah, and that is a weird thing because it's like most of that line was still there. 19 most. I know we didn't have Andrews, but Ted Karras did a pretty good job filling in that year. This year I'm like Tooney and Andrews. It was I like the only change was really Andrews and like that rookie like Okuna, I can't never pronounce his name.
Yeah, he's going to play guard this year, I heard.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So I mean, I'm excited to see the kind of his next step too this year, and then that line. So yeah, it was weird how they were better last year, but Damon Harris really came in and it stepped up for him though. Michelle's really been banged up, so Harris is a really nice addition to this roster, and it sounds like they're even looking at Chris Carson, which would be another nice.
That would be big. That'd be a nice one. That'd be a good addition. Yeah. Put him and Damian Harris in the same backfield. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, because they're gonna lose White because he's probably going to Tampa. So
yeah. I guarantee you, White will be in Tampa.
Oh,
that'll be a perfect fit for them. We'll get to that.
But so definitely, it was Brady that wanted to do this, but yeah, he covered it up a lot, the last few years here, and had us being Super Bowl contenders, and you won us a couple somehow.
Absolutely, that shows you how great he is. But yeah, going back to the quarterback thing, what they do in the first round, I feel like they have to draft trade up for Trey Lance or draft Mac Jones if he's there at number 15, because I just don't think Cam is a long-term solution. But if obviously. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted, like a Micah Parsons at 15 and went all in to win with Cam.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a Micah Parsons in the first round, but I'm really at the point where, I want to find that long-term franchise quarterback because I know Cam Newton's not that guy. I've heard the rumblings of Mac Jones because his stature, I'm not comparing his play to Tom Brady, but like his stature and his body, it really does compare to Tom Brady, and I really think that the Patriots like that. So I feel like if it's any of those quarterbacks, it's Mac Jones right now. But they really do need that franchise quarterback. Because unless it's Cam's shoulder, I think it's his shoulder. Unless it magically heals over the offseason, I don't see him being too much better. I could see him being a bit better, but not much.
And Jay said I like the Mac Jones fit, and I do too. I think that would be really good, especially he has a good offensive line, good running game. Good defense. So if he goes there, he won't be playing from behind as much. So I really, I think if they can get ahead in games, he could man. He won't be a super. I don't think he's gonna be a superstar, but I think he could be a top 10, top 15 quarterback if he goes to the Patriots. I like the fit too.
Yeah, I would love to have Mac Jones. I think, I think he fits. Yeah, I think he fits. With McDaniels, the running game, the line, the defense. I think he'd fit in really, really well. The only thing is, because I think he's going to be a good quarterback. The thing is, I'm not trying to take any away from what he did last year, but his wide receivers are so good that
he didn't
have to really,
Yeah, I mean, when you have Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith and Najee Harris, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to play to put up numbers with those guys. And you look at it, Alabama has not produced in the Nick Saban era. Yes, Tua could potentially be one, but Alabama hasn't produced a franchise quarterback yet.
No, they haven't. The McElroys, the
AJ McCarron,
Aaron McCarron. Trying to think.
Jalen Hurts could potentially be one too.
Hurts, yeah. Trying to think before that. Coker didn't even get drafted.
Oh no, yeah.
They got John Parker Wilson. I
think Wilson, yeah.
He didn't turn in much yet. So most of them just turn backups or free agents.
Exactly. Yeah.
That does scare me a bit, but we'll see. If he works under McDaniels, I think too would be a big help for development too. So that is a worry. They haven't had a franchise guys like Saban's there, but hopefully Mac maybe could be that guy if it's a New England.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And because of what they've done in free agency, they spent a lot of money, building this roster. Now they got to get the QB right. So that's what's got to happen for the Patriots. But we got to get to my team, and it was relatively quiet for my team until yesterday when they gave Leonard Williams the big contract, 3 years, $63 million, $45 million guaranteed. And I think this is a great move for this team. I think they needed a cornerstone on defense. He had a great year last year, 11.5 sacks, had 2 huge sacks and 2 of their wins at the end of the season against Seattle and against the Cowboys. This guy was a beast last year, the best player on this team last year, no doubt. I don't want to hear anybody tell me anybody else was better than Leonard Williams on this team, because you have no clue as you're talking about if you tell me that anybody was better than Leonard Williams on this team last year. He was outstanding. He was a complete beast. He anchored this defense last year, and did he play at this level throughout his career? No, but since he's been traded to the Giants, especially last year, he's been playing at a high level. Right now, last year he played like a top 5 defensive tackle, and he absolutely deserved this contract. 3 years, $63 million. And I'm really excited to have Leonard Williams on this defense for the next 3 years.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice pickup, and especially re-signing. Yeah, it was huge for the Giants to re-sign this guy. With how good your guys' defense was, he really stepped up his game last year. Was such an important piece of why you guys are competitive in this division. Why your defense was so good last year. It was definitely a must-sign situation for the Giants to be able to keep Leonard Williams in town, because with the defense you guys have built, to have him kind of in the middle of it.
I think we lost Justin there. For the defense we built, it's really, really good to have him in the middle of this. Oh, you're back, Justin?
So to have Leonard Williams back in the middle of this defense with kind of the core you guys have built for your defense, how good it's been. They keep a big part of that here in New York is such a big thing. I thought it was a terrific signing for the Giants. He was terrific last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as a result of that, though, they did have to let Dalvin Tomlinson walk, which I don't mind one bit. I don't mind one bit that they let Dalvin Tomlinson walk. Dalvin Tomlinson's a good player, but number one, he was a Jerry Reese guy, not a Dave Gettleman guy. And number two, he's a one-trick pony. All he could really do is stop the run. And he didn't play. He played like less than 50% of the snaps last year. So I am fine. Letting Dalvin Tomlinson go. I think he'll help Minnesota in the run game, but I'm fine letting him go.
Yeah, because D tackle too. So I know he was a captain and he hasn't missed a game, I don't think, in 4 or 5 years in the league. But you already have Williams. It's kind of one of those things that it was probably better to just move on for him. I know, in the locker room, it's kind of you lose a lead in the locker room, but it was smart to kind of move on. I think you had bigger after you signed Williams. I think you had bigger priorities after, than Tomlinson. So it makes
Williams was the priority of this offseason. They needed to sign Leonard Williams at any cost, and they did.
Yeah, they did. It was smart. They needed to. They really need to keep him around, and it's going to be a good thing that they did. He's really stepped up his game since since getting traded to New York.
Oh, he's traded from one New York team to the other New York team.
Yeah, which is odd, but yeah.
And Jace made a comment. I knew he was going to comment about this guy, because he's a Pac-12 guy. He likes the John Ross signing. If he could stay healthy, he could be a solid weapon. And I agree for what they got him for 1 year, $2 million. Yeah, I mean, very low risk, high reward. I'll tell you, if he could stay healthy. But that's the biggest thing. If he could stay healthy. I mean, he's been hurt. He's missed almost the entire 2017 season. He's missed almost the entire 2020 season. This was a really, really, really bad pick for the Bengals at number 9 because the guy can't stay healthy at all. But yeah, first round pick for what we got him for. Very low risk, high reward. I mean. Imagine if he could stay healthy. And come on, Jace, schematically, Williams is better for Graham's defense than Tomlinson. Yeah, I don't even care about scheme. Williams is just clearly a better player than Dalvin Tomlinson. That's why you signed Leonard Williams over Dalvin Tomlinson any day of the week. Leonard Williams can do everything. He can stop the run, and he can get pressure on the quarterback. All Dalvin Tomlinson can do is stop the run. You don't give that guy a bunch of money. You don't give Dalvin Tomlinson a bunch of money. He's a one-trick pony. In free agency, you got to make choices, especially when you potentially have to pay Saquon Barkley down the road and maybe potentially have to play Daniel Jones down the road and maybe even hoping to maybe see if you can get like a Juju Smith signed here too in free agency. So you have to make choices there. Yes, schematically it is, but also the biggest reason why they signed Leonard Williams is because he's just clearly a better player than Dalvin Tomlinson. Now back to John Ross. Yeah, just so for John Ross is just a low risk, high reward, low risk, high reward signing for the Giants.
Yeah, totally. This kid is really, really quick. I remember, coming out of Washington, the kid was just a special talent. It's unfortunate that the injuries have really derailed him so far in his professional career. But yeah, this is a guy, a deep threat for Daniel Jones here. Probably not going to be the number one guy, but there definitely won't be the number one guy. But look, he could stay healthy with his speed. He could definitely make an impact for this offense that, they do need some more, they need weapons for Daniel Jones. So yeah, it's a low risk, high reward type situation for the Giants to sign John Ross.
Absolutely. But looking at, some potential free agents the Giants could sign, you look at, Juju's still out there. Will Fuller's still out there. I think those guys could definitely fill that hole at wide receiver. Curtis Samuel's still out there. So, I mean, I would probably think they're more likely to sign Curtis Samuel because Gettleman did draft him in 2016. It was 16, right, for Curtis Samuel?
Yes.
I think because Gettleman did draft him in 2016. So I think it's more likely that Curtis Samuel gets signed by the Giants than Juju or Will Fuller. And then you look at pass rushers out there. You still got Hassan Reddick, Kyle Van Noy. I could see Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy is the one I could see. You also got Hassan Reddick still out there, and you got Justin Houston still out there. So there's still some pass rushers. They're not getting the big names in free agency. And if they don't somehow sign Kenny Gallade or Juju or Fuller, the Giants won't get any really big names in free agency because there's no big name pass rushers out of there. As Jay says, Van Noy, BYU product. Always looking at the Utah guys. I think Jace would be happy if they signed Van Noy, and I would be happy if they signed Van Noy. I think that would add some depth to this line, and he fits the scheme too. He fits Patrick Graham's scheme because he was there. He played in New England when Patrick Graham was an assistant in New England, so he fits the scheme well. I would really like if we would sign Kyle Van Noy, and that would add to the depth at outside linebacker with the Kyle Fackrells, the Lorenzo Carter. So it would add to depth at that position as well. So if they get a lesser free agent as a pass rusher and even a lesser free agent as a receiver, I think the Giants did a pretty good job in free agency.
Yeah. With Van Noy, it always seems too like all these old Patriot assistants love to go after all New England guys. So it always seems like so. Maybe there's always that possibility there. They go get a Van Noy. Hassan Reddick was one name. I know Olivia Vernon's still out there. You think any chance there's a reunion there or not for Olivia Vernon?
Not really, because I don't think the scheme fits that well. I think he's a 4-3. He's more of a 4-3 defensive end than a 3-4 outside linebacker. And we saw that 1 year he played with the Giants in 2018. He wasn't great as a 3-4 outside linebacker. He's more of a 4-3 defensive end. So I don't think the scheme fits that well for Olivier Vernon. He's getting old, and I don't think the scheme fit is there for him.
Okay, yeah, because I think Vernon had 30. He's 32, I think, for Vernon, something like that. But yeah, so yeah, I had Hassan Reddick. I even saw Clowney's name, but I don't think what we saw last year.
He's going to want more money than he's worth. No, I would stay away from Clowney.
Yeah, Justin Houston would be another good one for the Giants. I could take a Reddick, Van Noy, Houston, one of those guys. For wide receiver, Will Fuller would be nice because you guys definitely need the number one. I like Slayton, but he's not really.
Slayton to me, he's a 2 to me. Slayton's a 2. So is Shepard. Shepard has issues staying healthy. So I really want a number one receiver on this team. I think Juju would give us that if we had it.
Yeah, Juju would. I even put T.Y., but he's been so banged up. I don't know.
Too banged up. No, T.Y. is too banged up. The problem, Will Fuller too. Will Fuller's just so We'll get to that when we talk about some of the free agents that haven't been signed yet. But yeah, Will Fuller's too undependable. So yeah, Juju would definitely. Gallade's obviously my first choice, but Juju would be my second choice. But I think they're going to be more. They're going to more look at the route to maybe if they do sign a receiver, be more like a Curtis Samuel. I think.
Yeah, he would be a solid wide receiver for what you guys have. Obviously he's not a Gallade or Juju, but again, he's a solid wide receiver, knows get him, and I think that'd be a really nice addition for the Giants offense.
Absolutely. So we'll see what the Giants end up doing. I don't think they're going to do that much in free agency. I think they're going to be looking towards the draft to improve at wide receiver. If they could get Waddle, Chase, or Smith, that would be great for them. So I think they're going to be looking more towards the draft to improve there. But we'll see what the Giants end up doing at free agency. They don't have that much cap space, so they did free up a little bit because they reworked Nate Solder's deal. But we'll see what the Giants end up doing We'll see what the Giants end up doing in free agency. But I don't think they're going to do that much. But we got to get to the defending Super Bowl champions and the team that, in my opinion, won free agency. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion, they won free agency. When you looked at, Levante David, Chris Godwin, and Shaq Barrett all being free agents, your guess was, one of them's probably going to walk. They're not going to be able to sign all three. But you know who their quarterback is? He takes less money. He saves $19 million in cap space. And guess what happens? They franchise Chris Godwin. They sign Levante David, 2 years, $25 million. He's not getting paid. He's not the highest paid linebacker. And they also, even after Shaq Barrett said you're not getting a hometown discount, they end up getting a discount on Shaq Barrett, 4 years, $72 million, $18 million a year. So they won free agency because they got the 3 key players they needed to get back. And I think they got a great chance to defend this championship next year.
Oh, they totally do. And people wonder why Tom has won seven.
He is the greatest quarterback of all time. You wonder why. Well, you wonder why Tom's won 1 and Tom Brady's has 7 rings and Aaron Rodgers has 1 ring. Tom Brady wants to win. He doesn't care about how much money he makes. He just wants to win championships. Yeah,
man, you can tell. Every year, finally people thought he was gonna go Tampa. Finally, could get the money he deserves, but it frees up more money for Barrett, David, and Godwin. Tampa has won the NFL free agency.
AJ Green. You know what? He's way past his prime. I think he's a below average receiver right now, AJ Green. But I don't think he's that much worse than Christian Kirk or Larry Fitzgerald, and he might take a little bit of pressure. A veteran who might take a little bit of pressure off DeAndre Hopkins. So, I don't mind the signing. I don't know if Jace, do you know the number figures? I mean, I'm not sure.
Probably like a 1 or 2 year deal with them.
Probably, yeah. So, I mean, he's a below average receiver at this point. He was the 3rd best receiver for the Bengals last year. So, I mean, he's not even close. One year deal. So, he's not even close to what he once was. But hey, for what they're getting him for, you don't mind it.
No, yeah, wow.
1 year, $8 million. Yeah, you got the numbers for us. 1 year, $8 million. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Like that. Look, if you could stay healthy, that's been because he's another wide receiver, just had not been able to stay on the field.
Yeah, but there were times last year you didn't even know he was still on the team.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, and I know the quarterback after Burrow got hurt wasn't great, but He's not the same guy anymore. It's a nice addition for the Cardinals offense, AJ Green, but yeah, he's nothing like, he was, 5-6 years ago, and he was definitely one of the top wide receivers in the entire league. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's another one of those situations, really a no-lose situation for the Cardinals here. So yeah, I don't mind it adding more depth to that wide receiver position for a team that really loves to throw the football.
No, not at all, not at all. But going back to the Buccaneers, with the moves they made, and also I forgot about this, they signed Gronk too, so that they got the chemistry between Brady and Gronk. So Brady did a great job restructuring. Now this team is in great position to repeat as Super Bowl champions.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you never, I know Gronk said he was going to test free agents, but you never knew you knew he was never going to leave Tom Brady. You knew that was coming. But yeah, they're probably going to have James White in the next few days. So
and that's perfect for a team that probably won't re-sign Fournette. So that could James White could be an extension of that running game and the short passing game for Brady. And you could also use White as a running back too. You could use him and Ronald Jones in the backfield. So yeah, it's just they're just where's the hole on this Bucs team? You maybe could make an argument, maybe a little bit in the run game, definitely not on the offensive line, definitely not a receiver. Definitely not a quarterback. Definitely not on the defensive line. Definitely not at linebacker. Maybe a little bit in the secondary, but Antoine Winfield's a good player. And, Carlton Davis has definitely improved in the secondary. So there really are not much holes. I think the Bucs have the best roster in football right now.
Yeah, they do. I got to agree with you there. This, because it was not. I would probably say –
the Saints were there last year with some of the, the Saints, they Hendrickson, they don't have Trey Hendrickson anymore. Janoris Jenkins is gone. They got rid of Quan Alexander. I think their roster, they're still a top roster, but it's still, I don't think it's as good as the Bucs roster.
No, I think the Bucs, definitely have that top spot right now. It's a great all-around roster. They don't, because I think maybe there's probably it's either that and the running backs. It's definitely their big flaw. They're kind of hole, but it's not even that big of a hole where it's crazy. I agree. This Tampa team's really, really scary. I think this is like a 13-win team. With Brady. Yeah, it's this Bucs team 100% right now. It's the best roster in the entire NFL at the moment.
Yeah, I could easily see it for the Bucs 14-2, 13-3. Look at their schedule this year too. I mean, they play the NFC East and they play the AFC. I mean, the AFC is a little bit better, but they play the Jets too. So look at their schedule. I'm definitely and really the NFC South is not. We don't know what the moves they're making, but the Falcons aren't that good. The Panthers aren't. They're not. Falcons and Panthers right now aren't playoff teams. The Saints roster isn't as good, and they might not be as good at quarterback. So I think this is a 14-2, 13-3 team for the Bucs. For this 14-2, 13-3 team.
Well, I could see it, yeah. Because again, like even if the Panthers go out and get Deshaun Watson, they don't really have a ton around.
They're still not as good.
No, they're not. I'm not. I wasn't. I'm saying they're even if they got him somehow, they maybe 500, maybe.
They might be better than the Saints, but they're not better than the Bucs.
Yeah, they still won't be better than the Bucs. Yeah, like the Saints are the only team that could contend with them in this division. But yeah, I right now at the moment I see the Bucs still being like 2 or 3 games better than the New Orleans Saints at the moment. So yeah, Tampa could run away with this division just like very, very easily.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Saints, they had a busy week too as Drew Brees retires from the NFL. Great career, outstanding career. He's clearly a first ballot Hall of Famer. Super Bowl 44 champion, Super Bowl 44 MVP, 2009 NFL MVP. So, no, was he the MVP in? I don't know if he was the MVP in 09. Oh, Peyton, I think, was the MVP that year. He was close to winning the MVP that year, but yeah, Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 44, beat the Colts that year in the Super Bowl, and his career was, it started slow. He had that shoulder injury at the end of his time with the Chargers, but then he completely revitalized his career in New Orleans. He was just outstanding and well-deserved first ballot Hall of Famer. But now the Saints got to move on. And at quarterback, it's going to be an open competition. Sean Payton said it, between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. It's going to be interesting to see how that ends up working out. But I do think Jameis Winston, with a year, I think he should be the starter. And with a year in this system with Sean Payton, I think he could be pretty good. I don't know if the Saints are going to be. I don't think the Saints will be as good as the Bucs, but I do think they're going to be a playoff team just because of their roster. Because if Michael Thomas could stay healthy, you got it. You still have one of the best backs in the league in Alvin Kamara, a top offensive line. You got Cam Jordan, and that defense is still top 10 with Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus Williams. So I still think the Saints are a playoff team with Jameis Winston, or even Taysom Hill at quarterback.
Yeah, for Drew Brees, a phenomenal career. I know he wanted to get that second one. He wanted to,
he very easily could have got that second one in 2018. Wasn't for that terrible call.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that call happened. It was ridiculous. But yeah, absolutely stunning. Fabulous career, 20 years, and with his size too, and just right now he's the all-time lead. I know Brady's probably gonna pass him, but right now to lead being the all-time leading passer in the league, it was a really slow start for him, and again, a lot of people didn't know if he could make it in this league because of his size, and he proved a lot of people wrong. He had a phenomenal career at the New Orleans Saints. It's unfortunate he couldn't get a second one, but so definitely no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. He had a great career. For next in line for the Saints, signing Jameis Winston and then restructuring Taysom Hill's deal, which I couldn't understand given the 4-year like $160 million or something they gave him. I don't like right now. I see Hill getting the starting job just because of how much they're going to give him.
Yeah, but that contract's voidable though. That contract's voidable after this year. It's not that bad. The contract's not that bad. That's a voidable contract after this year.
Okay, I just it's still just a weird move, but I still didn't understand it. Why? But why they gave him all that? Even they could make it. It made they even make it like a voidable contract. But Jameis, because he has such a big arm, it's just if he just could stay away from the turnovers, he can stay away from that big mistake. I think he could be a really good not a really good, but he can be a solid quarterback in this league. He just has to stay away from the bad decision making. And it's in Tampa.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that in the Saints team. Him, staying away from that stuff. Protecting the football. Not making as many mistakes and making some big plays. I really could see that this year.
Yeah, and again, maybe and I know he kind of fit Bruce Arians' system the way he wants, like a lot of deep throws and kind of just with all the interception, where it's like for Arians, he doesn't I'll take all the shots you can. But yeah, so I could in that Sean Payton system, I could really see Jameis Winston fitting. James, he got the LASIX, yeah.
He's good with INTs. We'll see that. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there, Chase. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the Saints do at quarterback. I still think they're a playoff team, but they're not as good as the Bucs. So we'll see what happens there. But we got to go to another free agent who got some big money this morning, and that's Trent Williams. I mean, 6 years, $138 million, $23 million a year. I think this is a really good move for the 49ers. Even though he's 33, this is a really good move for the 49ers because with Jimmy Garoppolo missing a ton of games in the last 3 years, they need to have somebody protect their quarterback. No matter who their quarterback is. Say they trade Jimmy Garoppolo and trade for Sam Darnold. They need their quarterback to be protected because that's been the biggest reason why the 49ers have had bad years in 2018 and 2020 because Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt.
Definitely, 33. So it's a little, but yeah, they definitely need the signing, especially how good this NFC West is going to be. They really cannot take any chances.
And all the pass rushers you got to face in this NFC West. You got to face, Aaron Donald of the Rams. You got to face now J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. So you got to face so many pass rushers in Leonard Floyd. So you got to face a lot of good pass rushers in this division.
Yeah, you do. So it makes sense to have one of the best offensive linemen in the league. So they had to keep him around, to try to keep Garoppolo healthy because, again, you lose Garoppolo, you have no shot at competing in this division this year. Just how deep it is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you lose Garoppolo, you're done. You're done, just like they were last year. Just like them in the middle of the year last year, they were done because of because Garoppolo got hurt, and then the season was over. So yeah, in this division, you got to keep your quarterback healthy. That absolutely has to happen.
Yeah, and all the injuries last year with, the rest of the team too, they hurt that all those, they lost all those guys. It was a tough year for the Niners. So yeah, they got to stay away from, hopefully stay away that injury bug. And first is, again, hopefully helping that will be Trent Williams to keep Garoppolo healthy.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. He had a really good year last year. I mean, after they traded for him, they got only a fifth. They only had to give up a 5th round pick for him. So had a really good year last year, and we're looking forward to see what he's going to do this year with the Niners. But we'll look to some other free agents who haven't been signed yet, and there's 3. They're all wide receivers, and the first one is Kenny Gallade. And I think a big reason Kenny Gallade hasn't been signed is because he just doesn't get a ton of separations, and he missed a bunch of games for the Lions last year, so he's not dependable. And he's really big. He's great at getting contested ball, getting jump balls, but he's not great at getting separation. So I think that's a big reason why Kenny Gallade hasn't been signed yet. Juju Smith-Schuster. The thing about Juju is he had a really good year in 2018 when he was a number 2 to Antonio Brown. But since he's been a number 1, he hasn't put up huge numbers. And I think that's a really, really big reason why he hasn't gotten a big deal. But you could argue last year that Big Ben fell off at the end of in the second half of the season. And then you saw the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh the year before was absolutely terrible. But if you're going to be a great receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, those years when he was in Houston before Deshaun Watson, he still put up big numbers. If you're going to be a great receiver in this league, you saw Larry Fitzgerald in his career with bad quarterback play put up big numbers. You saw Andre Johnson put up big numbers with bad quarterback play. Calvin Johnson, before Matthew Stafford got there, he put up numbers. So if you're going to be a great receiver in this league, you're going to be worth $20 million in this league as a wide receiver, you got to put up numbers no matter who your quarterback is. And I think that's the bigger issue with Juju Smith-Schuster is he just can't put up big numbers with bad quarterback play. And lastly, Will Fuller, the biggest reason is just lack of dependability. He's got talent, but he just is not dependable at all. And I think that's a big reason why, why Will Fuller's hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah, Gallade, it's kind of banged up last year. And I think for all 3 guys, you're just right now with how the market is and with everybody trying to get under cap, I think, they're not getting what they want. Gallade, Juju, and Will Fuller are really good wide receivers. And I think too, for these, wide receivers, it's kind of, scheme fit and how, I think it's a big key for this as well. And maybe it's not that those teams, like a Kenny Gallade, I could see, and going like the Giants. I don't think the Jets anymore after Davis. That's why he signed Davis, or maybe like Miami. Like there's a couple of teams I could see him going to. But yeah, if he can stay on the field, he's a really talented wide receiver. And then with Juju, after Brown left, he was a really good number 2 wide receiver. And then he kind of got the promotion to be the number 1 guy, and you can talk about the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. But he never really put up the big numbers like he was when he had Antonio Brown as the number 1 guy. So I think there's some hesitation there with teams to give him all that. And Will Fuller he's another guy. He has the talent, but he just has not been able to stay on the field. He's getting older too, so it's another kind of tough situation for him. Coming off the PEDs, that suspension at the end of last year, which probably did not help his cause in the this stuff right now in the offseason. So it's your time for some of these wide receivers, but he's got the talent. I just don't think most of these guys are getting what they want because of the new salary cap. Everyone's trying to kind of get under it, and not going to pay $20 million.
No, these guys are not worth. The teams do not want to spend this kind of money on lack of dependability. There's none of these 3 receivers have proven they could could either stay healthy or be a true number 1 receiver, and teams are just not going to pay that kind of money if you haven't proven that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's such a league now where it's so pass heavy. You got to have that number 1, wide receiver for your quarterback, and all 3 of them. I think Gallade's would be kind of the top guy on that list. But if you're not hurt, if you're hurt all the time, you can't. It's tough to throw money around at these guys. In the NFL, for number 1 guy, it's too risky. So I think that's why you guys just aren't getting what they want right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll now go to the Jets and some of the moves they made. They made two moves that were more about potential, I feel like, than production. They signed Corey Davis, 3 years, $37 million. Yes, last year he had a pretty good year, but he was a top 5 pick and really hasn't really played up to that. He's been good, but he hasn't played up to being a top 5 pick. And they signed Carl Lawson too, 3 years, $45 million. Another guy with potential, but really hasn't shown. He's had a couple like 5-sack seasons. He really hasn't shown a ton of production. So the Jets go off potential than production, and in my opinion, I don't think that's how you should really be going off. You really should be doing things in free agency.
Yeah, it was interesting. Corey Davis' move wasn't bad. I think they need another wide receiver because I like Crowder. If you can see, he's another guy that's been kind of banged up always. Denzel Mims kind of showed some signs last year of. But again, he was injured most of the year. So, yeah, they need another wide receiver. I just think right now the Jets just, probably think they're another year or two from competing right now. They're just trying to build something for the future here, even though, again.
And Jay says potential over production should be okay if you're rebuilding. If you're drafting players, yes. But if you're signing players to deals that are worth $15 million or if you're signing players to contracts, no, it's not okay to be going production over potential over production. No, you got to sign guys off production. I mean, come on now. I mean, dude, you could draft off potential. That's fine. But when you're signing players to make your roster better, no. If you don't see that they produce, you shouldn't be spending money on them.
Yeah, it's one of I didn't look. There's no great because I know the Jets have money, but there's not that great free agent issue, that like big superstar free agent that's out there. And yeah, I think for the Jets, they kind of know that they're still kind of, especially with the AFC East, I think they kind of know they're still a few years away, unfortunately for Jet fans. I think they, are just trying to continue their rebuild. And, I for the Lawson one, I thought it's because the Jets really didn't have much of a pass rush last year. So
it does add a little bit of pass rush. I'll give you that.
Again, it's nothing great, but it does add a little bit to the pass rush. Again, hopefully they get like a CJ Mosley back next year. Marcus May played well in the secondary, so it's like they kind of have some pieces there. Because they put out, we'll see what they do in the draft, but a couple nice additions for the Jets. But yeah, I think these moves they kind of know they're still nowhere near from competing for a playoff spot.
No, not at all. We'll go to the AFC West and some big moves in the AFC West, especially in the offensive lines. You look at the Chiefs. They signed Joe Thuney, 5 years, $80 million after they released Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz. So they needed to get some sort of they needed someone on that offensive line. So to make it just to make it like a decent offensive line, which is enough for Patrick Mahomes, not make it the offensive line that it was in the Super Bowl. So I don't mind that move. You got the Chargers signing Corey Linsley, like 5 years, $62.5 million. Definitely a great addition there to get a center with Justin Herbert. I think that's a great addition. That was one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. And an interesting move by the Raiders. They cut Rodney Hudson, which I think he's definitely going to get signed in the next couple of days. And they do sign Yannick Ngakoue, but I don't get some of the Raider moves on the offensive line. They trade Trent Brown. They cut Ronnie Hudson. And you've seen when the offensive line hasn't been as good, Derek Carr just hasn't been as good.
No, and the Raider one too with Hudson, they lost money from doing it. They took like a $14 million cap hit, I think my brother said. They're not happy about it. They were not happy. But they tore up the whole offensive line pretty much, which is interesting. But so I didn't get that one. The Ngakoue, they couldn't get off the field on third down, so I kind of like this move for him. You bring in somebody, good pass rusher. A team that really showed as the quarterback last year. The Chargers adding Lindsey with the center. I think it's a really nice move for Herbert to protect him around because they really strove to keep him healthy. So I thought it was a good move there. The Joe Thuney one really the gut punch.
I know.
In PC. I love Joe Thuney. I know they weren't going to resign. I was praying that they were going to be able to resign him. The guy, I think he's allowed like 3 sacks in like the last 4 years. He's been unbelievable. It's definitely an upgrade for the Kansas City Chiefs. That one hurts. Really gonna miss Joe Thuney.
Oh, you definitely got to. You definitely got to. You know, that one definitely is going to hurt you guys. But you did improve your offensive line a little bit, but it doesn't get it's about the same, I feel like, than it was last year, because you did add Trent Brown. You do have the last year, the guy who played tackle, the rookie who played tackle, he's going to move inside. So the offensive line is going to be as good, but yeah, it definitely hurts losing a proven guy like Joe Thuney off that offensive line. But we got to get to to another team that improved, the other AFC team that improved their defense, and that's the Titans signing up Bud Dupree, 5 years, $85 million. They also, though, lost Jonas Smith. We know Jonas Smith and Corey Davis, but they did improve on the defensive side, and that was their focus, because they do have A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and they paid Ryan Tannehill. So you got to make choices in free agency, and I think it's a decent move for Dupree, but I don't think it makes their defense that much better, because he never truly proved to be the guy in Pittsburgh. I felt like T.J. Watt was the guy, and he's coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah, coming off the ACL injury is tough. Yeah, he had so many great other defensive guys around him. But yeah, it's definitely an upgrade for the Titans. Again, they were last in sacks. They were just awful at getting any pressure on the quarterback. So I do like this move for the Titans. If he can come back healthy, I think it could be a really solid addition for Tennessee, adding Bud Dupree.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But we got to talk about some of the journeyman QBs who were signed yesterday, and one very controversial signing. We know the Bears were high on Russell Wilson, and I heard they offered 3 ones, a third-round pick, and 2 starters for Wilson. Seahawks didn't take it. So their second prize, and a consolation prize, which is not good at all, is they had to sign Andy Dalton, 1 year, $10 million. And this better not be the Bears' solution at quarterback, because it is. If they don't draft the quarterback in the first round now, and this is their solution at quarterback, Ryan Pace should be fired immediately. Immediately fired. That is a horrible, horrible move. That if they don't draft, even though they're number 20, they're gonna have to trade up, because Andy Dalton is not the answer. It's not a long-term answer at all. He is worse than Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky is definitely a better quarterback than Andy Dalton right now. Mitch Trubisky can move. Yes, Trubisky makes bad decisions and he's inaccurate, but at least Trubisky is mobile. And if you look at the Bears' record with Trubisky last year, I mean, they were 3-0 before they benched him. He lost the Green Bay game and the Detroit game, so that's 3-2. Then they won the next 3. They were 6-3 with Mitch Trubisky. 6-3 with Mitch Trubisky as their starting quarterback, and now they're going to downgrade to get Andy Dalton. This is a failure by both Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. More Ryan Pace for passing on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and then obviously drafting Mitch Trubisky. But then Matt Nagy goes in and wants Nick Foles to be there. He wants them to sign Nick Foles, trade for Nick Foles, so they do. That didn't work, and they had to go back to Trubisky last year. And now they're probably going to get rid of Trubisky, and now they got Andy Dalton. So it is a mess in Chicago with the quarterback position.
It's brutal. Yeah, these poor Bears, the QB carousel they're going through right now. And the thing about Dalton is he had all those weapons in Dallas too last year, and he still showed. He showed flashes at times, but that obviously wasn't great. Now he doesn't have anybody besides Don Robinson.
Yeah, and David Montgomery was okay last year, but he's inconsistent.
Yeah, again, they got to really upgrade that line too. Again, it's just poor. It's going to be a long. I don't see this Andy Dalton thing working out very well. Again, and then how much you keep a $25 million Nick Foles on the bench? Like, this move is not panning out. I know you said they're 20th in the drafting, in the first round. They have to trade up for a quarterback. They have to, unless they somehow. I wonder. I know that Texans don't want to sign Deshaun Watson or trade Deshaun Watson, but have they put in that offer to Houston? I don't know.
They got to do something. Because Andy Dalton is not the answer.
No. Oh God, no.
That's
not going to pan out. I think
not at all.
With their defense, maybe 6 wins at the max.
6 wins at most for that football team next year with Andy Dalton as the starter.
Yeah, that's 6-10. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah. And we'll get to 2 of the other quarterbacks that signed contracts. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 1 year, $10 million with Washington. I don't mind this move, but the issue with this move is they could have traded for Sam Darnold. I think they would have been better off trading for Darnold. Even though Fitzpatrick has been better than Darnold over the last couple of years, I feel like Darnold's younger and he has more upside than Fitzpatrick. Even though Fitzpatrick does make some plays, he also makes some terrible mistakes and is going to put that defense in bad positions at times. And the Texans signed Tyrod Taylor. Texans had to get somebody. They're probably going to lose Deshaun Watson. They need to get someone to just to look capable at the position, and that's why they signed Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, the Fitz one. I'd rather see Washington, go young with a Sam Darnold at this point. But, unless it, or like a drafting somebody. So, rather than Fitzpatrick, another kind of 1 year kind of fix here. Again, it's definitely an okay one in that division. He played well last year before they benched him in Miami, so he looked, for the most part. I think Washington needs to go young. And then Tyrod Taylor, he's been a decent quarterback. He's been able to stay away from the interceptions when he's played. It's kind of if or when they ever trade Watson, they do need a quarterback there. So there's not much around Tyrod Taylor, but I think he's a decent quarterback. Obviously, the big downgrade from Deshaun Watson, but he's a decent quarterback to bring in for a year until you can really figure out who you want next in line to be your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both those teams. I mean, I think say the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, they're probably going to say they trade him to the Panthers or like the Broncos. They're definitely going to draft the quarterback in the first round, and this will be the only year Taylor will be on the team. And for Washington, I think Ron Rivera just feels like I could win the NFC East with Ryan Fitzpatrick. The NFC East is not good, and I could win it with Fitzpatrick. Yeah,
he definitely can. I think figured 1 year here, we can take a longer assessment of who we want to be our franchise guy. And we take a chance here in Brian Fitzpatrick and so, win this league with 8-9 wins, maybe, So I don't mind this signing with Brian Fitzpatrick, but I'd rather see him go young. But it definitely could pan out for the Washington where the rest of the NFC East is right now.
Absolutely. So lastly, we'll talk about the guys who stuck with their teams, and we got Aaron Jones, 4 years, $48 million with the Packers, and then we got Leonard Floyd with the Rams, and I like both the moves. I mean, the Packers could have signed Linsley or him. They had to choose between the two. They chose Aaron Jones, and for the Rams, you keep that defensive line strong with Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald.
Aaron Jones, I know they lost Jamal Williams last night to Detroit. Again, Aaron Jones been really good running, been a good running back. I think he averaged over 5 to carry last year. I think he's only got 2 career fumbles too, and since he's entered the league. So he's been a nice piece to the Packers offense. So I don't mind the re-signing there by the Packers. And then Leonard Floyd, 10.5 sacks last year. Again, him and Aaron Donald with that, and then the rest of that defense. It just keep that defense attack is key. I know they got Stafford to upgrade over Jared Goff, but another good thing here for the LA Rams to be able to keep Leonard Floyd in LA. And that defense stays pretty scary.
Absolutely. Should be one of the best defenses in the league next year. So we are going to move on to March Madness, but before that, we got a promo from Keys to the City.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast, Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. But speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make my. I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Thank you, Trevor and Ted. That was Keys to the City. They were on last night talking about NFL free agency. They'll probably be on Friday talking NFL free agency and March Madness. And speaking of March Madness, the NCAA Tournament begins tomorrow, but everything will begin on Friday, which is rare, which is, different because it usually begins on Thursday, but now it's going to begin on Friday this year. But we're going to start with the region UConn's in, the East region, East region. East region. Yeah, we're going to start with that region, the UConn's in the East region with that region with Michigan, Alabama, Texas, Florida State, so LSU. So we'll start with that region, and we'll first talk about UConn's matchup against Maryland. I think this is going to be, this is going to be a good game, but I think this is a game UConn could win because here's my two reasons. My first reason is there's no player Maryland has on that floor that's better than James Bouknight. Nobody on that floor is better than Bouknight. So I think that's my first reason. And my second reason is there's no one on Maryland that's going to be able to stop Sanago. So I think if they can get the ball to Sanago inside and they could and Bouknight could have a good game. And Maryland really doesn't. Maryland has good guard play with Wiggins, Morsell, and Ayala, but they don't really have a good inside game like they did last year with Jalen Smith, or like they have in the past. So I really think that this is going to be a win for UConn. I think they win it by 7 to 10 points, and I think they advance to the next round.
You're confident. I'm not that confident right now.
Ooh, really?
I do. The problem is, again, here I go again. But actually, even what I'm about to say, even Calhoun kind of criticized earlier the other day about it. Maryland is going to grind you out. They're going to play in the half court, and as we saw Friday, Coach McDermott changed that thing up after the first media timeout and said, we are not running. We are going to play in the half court, and look what happened. They did absolutely nothing. Daryl Morsell is the Big Ten Defense Player of the Year. He is a really solid defender. I think Bouknight's going to be able to get some points, but they're good. But he's going to need some help around him. They have to somehow run because Maryland is going to grind you out, and that scares me. Yes, Sanago should have a big day because Dante Scott, he's 6'7". Sanago should be able to. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he should be able to, again, have double-digit points. This game does scare me. Maryland, they're really solid defensively. So this game actually scared me because even I was reading an article. Even Jim Calhoun said they need to run more. They need to be more up tempo. So,
Calhoun's getting critical now. You know what? Calhoun's getting critical. You got to start listening.
Yeah, so it seems like everybody knows that this UConn team should be up tempo besides Dan Hurley. So
because Calhoun's coaching them, they're up tempo.
Oh yeah, like that Kamir and that side, the Dream Team back in 1990, when they just had Chris Smith and Calhoun. They did the press because that was a one-shooter.
You better not play half speed with Calhoun as your coach, or you're sitting down.
No, yes, you will. Yeah, he would not take that. And then actually, I just wanted to mention this too. So, because me and Dad talked about this a few weeks ago. So the scoring from this team in 2011's national championship team, Kemba Walker had 23 points. Jeremy Lamb had 11. Everybody else on that team averaged 5 or 6 points, and that's kind of what this team is. It's Bouknight, and then it's kind of like RJ Cole, Tyrese Martin, and then it's like everybody else. They can give you, 7-8 points a night, which is a big, big help. And then the last thing is now this is the last thing. So since 2002, there's been one national champion that had not been in KenPom's offensive and defensive efficiency. I bet you can, that the one team was 2014 UConn team.
Yeah, you can guess that, yep.
Yeah, and the 6 teams this year are Gonzaga, Michigan, Illinois, Houston, Purdue, and UConn. So, if you go by that you kind of like UConn's chances. But this is going to be a really tough matchup. I am very concerned for this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, if they could contain Bouknight, they could definitely have trouble in this game. I just don't think that Maryland has the interior scoring to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just don't think Maryland has the interior scoring. That's why I think UConn wins it.
Yeah, I think Scott's averaging 10 a game, but I didn't think Creighton really did either. But they did a great job last week doing it. They destroyed them on the glass. So, I think this team might come out and play better this Saturday night. I do think they get the win, but again, I think it's like Friday. It's just kind of it's going to be low 60s, I believe, or high 50s, and They got to be able to run. And I think if they can get Maryland to play up tempo, I think they can win this game. Dan Hurley, press Maryland, please.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Hurley does there. So now, what do you think the chances are for this team throughout in this region? Now, Friday night, I felt like with their loss to Creighton, that was a very winnable game against Creighton. Creighton did not shoot the ball from three at all. They did not shoot the ball well at all. So I thought that was a very, very winnable game for them against Creighton. So, and they didn't win it, and Boaknight didn't take over. I just don't see this team making. I think this team got in the right, got on the right side of the bracket. But I don't see this team making a run because I just don't think that this team, I just can't see Boaknight taking over the way Kemba can, and I just don't think this is a great team. And I think I got this team in my bracket losing in the second round to Alabama.
Right now, I do too. I have them losing to Alabama. Again, if they do face Alabama, which they should get by Slick Rick and the Iona Gales. Again, they match up well with Bama because they don't have much of an inside game either. They're going to run with you. They take a lot of threes. Nate Oates is really analytical. He loves to get threes. They love to get layups, and they love to get to the line. That's like they love doing all those three things. Bama's better defensively than they have been the last few years. They don't get enough.
Herbert Jones is really good defensively.
He is, and I don't think this Tide team gets enough credit because they play so fast that their opponents do get so many possessions as well that their games are usually more high scoring. Friday night, it was a game they should have won. I know they're often just out of sync the moment they went to half court offense. But in this region right now, if they can get hot and if they can play their game, I do see this team making a run the second weekend. I don't know if they get to – I think they could get to the second weekend. If they can play up-tempo, they can play good defense. If guys can step around Boaknight, because Boaknight was not healthy Friday night. You can see the cramps were still bothering him. But I could see this team making a run. And then, actually, Dan Hurley does have a lot of respect for Nate Oates because – I don't remember when he had E.C. Matthews up at Rhode Island. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, Nate Oates was actually his high school coach. So when Dan was recruiting E.C. Matthews, when his brother Bobby was still out on his staff at Rhode Island, and he said, hey, whenever you get a head coaching gig, go get Nate Oates as assistant coach. He's that good. And Bobby hired him at Buffalo, got the job after. Bobby left for Arizona State, and the rest is history. So,
wow.
Dan's got a lot of respect for Nate Oates. So, I think Alabama will beat them if it gets to that point. But I could definitely see them knocking off the Crimson Tide. I think they match up well with them. I think they got the right. They're in the right region. I think they got the right 2 seed for them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But we'll preview the East region. And obviously look at the East region. You got Michigan. We talked about Alabama, Texas, Florida State, and Uconn, and LSU. And I think this is an interesting region. I think this is probably the most wide open region of any region. Any of the 4 regions, I think this is the most wide open region. So I think in this region, I think Michigan is definitely not a sure thing. I'm not going to give away my pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if LSU, with the talent they have, with Thomas, with Javonte Smart, with Wofford, with the talent they have, I wouldn't be surprised if LSU upset Michigan. And you look at Texas, I think if they could get Jones and they can get Jones, they can get good inside play. Good. I think with their guards, I think Texas has a very good chance of winning this region. And we already talked about Alabama, so I think this is a very, very interesting region, the East region.
Yeah, it's wide open. I don't know what's going on with Livers. He's going to play. They should be able to get by Saturday without him, depending who they play. The playing game, whoever wins that playing game. LSU, St. Bonaventure, it's I could see both. The only thing I worry about St. Bonaventure, because you talked about, so I won't really mention, because LSU could definitely win. I could definitely see them making an Elite Eight run here. St. Bonaventure is so good defensively. Kenny Lofton is a really, really good guard. But they're
Kenny Lofton.
Yeah.
You probably remember the name, right?
Yeah.
Former Indian Yankee, yep.
Yeah. So St. Bonaventure, they're last in the country in bench points and bench. They're in minutes per game by the bench, so they're really starter heavy.
Oh, please don't sleep on BYU. Come on.
If they could shoot, if they can knock down some shots, they have size.
Yeah, they did give Gonzaga a good game in the championship in the West Coast Conference championship game.
Yeah, they did. So I could see BYU making a run this Sweet 16, especially to get a UCLA. If the UCLA beats Michigan State, who's UCLA is really banged up, I could see it. Texas, I think could make a run. They played well in the Big 12 tournament. I like the way they're playing, but there's still some flaws with this team. But they still have some Final Four potential. This is definitely a wide open bracket. It's definitely the wide open one.
It absolutely. This is the most wide open of all of them. So speaking of that, who is your team, your sleeper team that no one's talking about that can make a run in this region?
I have the LSU Tigers right now. I think the way they can shoot the basketball, I think Cam Thomas is a good enough guard where he can make plays and march down the stretch that can win you game. If LSU can get enough stops, and I think, and if Will Wade can draw up some better end of game plays here.
Oh, man, yeah, we saw that. Yeah,
awful Sunday.
Yeah.
Then I feel pretty confident that LSU can make a run the second weekend, Elite Eight. Again, the way they shoot, and if they match up with an Alabama again, I could see them making the Final Four, but if the D can make that, because Watford been playing, I think he averaged like over 20 points in the SEC tournament. He's playing really well. They have the scoring. It's can they get stops in this in the tournament to be able to win this game or to make a run.
And I actually agree with you there. I agree with LSU. I have them in my Elite Eight. I have them in my Elite Eight in this region. So I definitely agree with you about them being the sleeper team that's going to make a run. What is your big upset in this region?
I got nobody's really talking about Abilene Christian knocking off Texas.
Wow.
This is a team that gave Arkansas all they can handle. They lost by 13, but Arkansas hit some shots late. And a team that only lost by 7 to Texas Tech. This is a team that could score. They got some size. They've already been in a tournament too. I know Kentucky absolutely whiplashed them a couple years ago. But battle between Texas colleges, a newer D1 team here, and this team, they force over 20 turnovers a game with their pressure. Again, if Texas comes in here loosey with the ball, makes some bad passes here, Abilene, they can get some in. The Wildcat can turn that into layups. I could see Abilene Christian knocking off the Longhorns. I really could.
My big upset is UNC Greensboro over Florida State because of Isaiah Miller, 2 times Southern Conference Player of the Year. I'm going with UNC Greensboro over Florida State. That's my big upset.
You know who the last player was? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know who the last player was to win 2 Southern Conference Player of the Years?
No.
Steph Curry.
Wow.
Steph Curry, but Isaiah Miller is a really, really good guard. That was a close one for me, but I love watching Isaiah Miller play. He's really, really good.
Yeah, that's my big upset. So who do you think wins the East region?
Right now, I got Alabama at the moment. I got Alabama at the moment. I like Nate Oates. I think they play better defense than LSU does, and I think that what gives them over the top right now. But I got the Crimson Tide right now going to the Final Four.
I got Texas going to the Final Four, beating LSU in the Elite Eight. I thought their inside game was outstanding against Oklahoma State. I know they were a little lucky because they didn't play that semifinal game against Kansas, but I really, really like their inside game against Oklahoma State, and I think that their guard play is very, very experienced and very good with Ramsey, with Andrew Jones, with Coleman. So I'm going to go with Shaka Smart and the Longhorns to get the Final Four in the East region.
Yeah, that was right there too. I was I was thinking about Alabama or Texas, but I decided to go with Alabama or Texas. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see each other in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have that in my bracket. I have them playing the Sweet 16. So we'll go to the West region, and obviously Gonzaga is the number 1 seed in the West. You got Iowa, the number 2, Kansas, the 3. a little questionable with Kansas to see who's going to be at that first game or not. You have anything new on that?
I got info. David McCormick is leaving, or he will arrive at Indianapolis Friday. We'll be able to play Saturday. Jalen Wilson will not be available until Monday. I guess he's coming up this weekend, so they won't have Wilson at Eastern Washington. And then like Tristan Yorkbrain only has a Texas game. I think he's out until next week He tested positive for COVID, so I think he's out for another. He may not arrive till next week.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens there. But my preview of this region is I think this is a really, really good region. I think, with Iowa and Gonzaga and Kansas, Virginia, the de facto defending national champions, but I don't really call them the defending national champions. But yeah. And then you got Oregon in this region. So I think this is a really, really interesting region. But Justin, what are your thoughts on this region?
Yeah, this is a region where Gonzaga's already beaten the 2, 3, and 4 seed already. And it's a region too where the 3 and 4 seeds right now are kind of battling some COVID issues. Again, this kind of really seems like a big Gonzaga runaway. Can Iowa play enough defense and hanging around in this region? But I could see to 12. Drake.
Jay says Drake is the sleeper. Healthy. Jay says Drake is the sleeper.
I could
come on now. Come on. Missouri Valley Conference team. Come on, dude. Drake is the sleeper. All right. I watched Drake play at Loyola. I was not impressed at all.
No, they had guy. Yeah, well, no, was he hurt then? I think they had one guy out at Loyola. They had 2 out for the Missouri Valley Tournament. They're both back. They'll both be back tomorrow. But I could see Drake here going on a little bit of run. But this should be a really interesting, who can take down Gonzaga, because it's a lot of question marks right now in the, from the, 2, 3, some of the top or the 3 and 4 seed right now.
Who is your team that can be a sleeper that no one's talking about in this region?
I had Dana Altman's Oregon Ducks.
I knew you were going to say Oregon.
I know Jason's probably liking the pick, but I really do like him in March. I know they didn't play well against Oregon State the other night, Friday night in the semifinal or in the Pac-12 tournament. They're 11-3 with Will Richardson in the lineup. Chris Duarte, this kid is a All-American if he played on the East Coast. If he played for the East Coast, he's that good. Their big guy transfer from Rutgers, Eugene Omarui. He's averaging like 16 points a game. He's been a beast inside. Again, they switch up their defense. They go, play different zones. They play the man-to-man. Again, that can confuse some teams. And I kind of said it last week. I think this team's a top 15 team if they didn't have all the injuries and COVID issues. I think this is a dangerous 17. I get the Ducks being the sleeper in this region.
My sleeper is USC. I think mainly because of Evan Mobley. I think they're my sleeper. I think I have them beating Kansas in the second round, losing to Iowa in the Sweet 16. But I think they're definitely my sleeper in this region. But Justin, what is your big upset in this region?
I got the Ohio Bobcats.
Ohio over Virginia.
Yep. I know Virginia's coming back. Jason Preston. This kid's an NBA prospect. I'm trying to, because did you watch when they played Illinois?
No.
They should have beat Illinois.
Oh, really?
Black Friday. Yeah, he had 31 points. Jason Preston. This, a lot of people are going to learn this kid's name. He had no offers coming out of high school, so it's been one of those cool stories. Guys been able to really surprise a lot of people. This team could score. With Dwight Wilson, their big guy as well. This team can get up and down the floor and score some points. They're not great defensively, but you play a Virginia team. Again, they have trouble scoring as it is. So I really like this Ohio Bobcat team. I could see them making a run here in the Sweet 16. I'm a really big fan of this Bobcats team. They're playing really well right now. They're a 5 seed in the MAC tournament, and they've been playing a lot better down the stretch.
That's why I didn't like picking them up for an upset. I don't like a team that finishes 5th in the MAC to pull an upset in the NCAA tournament.
they had some injuries, they had some COVID issues, so it's kind of been an upsy turn. It's the defense. Their defense is not great, but if they, but they can outscore anybody. I feel like, or most teams, not everybody, but in this area here in their region, I think they could, be able to score teams, pull off some upsets.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And my upset is UC Santa Barbara, who finished in first place in their conference, beating Creighton. I feel like Creighton's a team that lives and dies by the 3. They look terrible in the Big East championship game against Georgetown, and I think it's going to be a problem against UC Santa Barbara. So my upset pick is UC Santa Barbara over Creighton. But Justin, who you got winning the West region?
I got Gonzaga. Beating the Ducks. I feel like in this kind of, Gonzaga's got like a favorable 4 or 5 seed in this region here. Both kind of going through some issues. So I got Gonzaga, and then the bottom half, I got the Ducks. I feel like they can make a run. I really haven't made my official one yet, but I could definitely see a Oregon USC Sweet 16 game, and I like the Ducks here to make a run at 7. I think they're dangerous.
I got chalk for this one. I got Gonzaga and Iowa, and I want to see this matchup. I want to see those 3 All-Americans, Corey Kispert, Jalen Suggs, and Andrew Timme go up against the best player in the nation, Luka Garza. So I really want to see that matchup between Iowa, and there's another matchup later on that I really, that's the match I'm looking forward to the most in the NCAA tournament, even more than the national championship game if that matchup happens. But this is a match I'm really looking forward to. If it happens, I really want to see Iowa and Gonzaga go at it, and I got Gonzaga beating them to get to their second Final Four in 5 years. Yeah,
that would, Gonzaga, Iowa, that would be an absolute track meet. It'd be definitely both teams be scoring over 8 points. That'd definitely be a fun game to watch.
Absolutely. So we'll go on to the South region, and in the South region we have 2 really good teams and 1 really good freshman. I think that's kind of the story of the South region. We got Baylor, we got Ohio State. You got Baylor obviously with their 3 guards, Mitchell, Butler, and Teague. You got Ohio State, and there's another thing I just cannot believe why Dwayne Washington hasn't gotten any looks for the NBA, because that kid in that Big Ten championship game was outstanding in that game. Him and E.J. Liddell, really good players. Ohio State very capable of winning that region. You got Arkansas with Moses Moody. And obviously you got some teams that are very questionable. You got Purdue at the number 4 seed, very young team. Villanova without Colin Gillespie. You got your boy, the number 6 seed, Chris Beard, and Texas Tech. So, and you got North Carolina, who's probably overseeded in that region too. So, interesting South region. What are your thoughts on it, Justin?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, North Carolina being ACC bias, but yeah, who am I to say? Couple of really good matches. Nova so banged up against a really solid Winthrop team. I know everybody in America, loves Winthrop right now. But yeah, this is but Baylor, they're so good, this team they have so much talent right now. This is another one where it's, I'm trying to kind of find who can kind of beat Baylor. I don't want to pick all these 1 seeds, but another solid good read. But right now, obviously the 1 seed looks like the favorite. Again, Arkansas, I think, could give them a run for their money. Ohio State, can they get Kyle Young back? It's a big question of how far they can go.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how far Ohio State could go, but I do think they very easily get to the Sweet 16, because I think they'll beat Oral Roberts. They could beat whoever they play in the second round, Virginia Tech or Florida. So I think Ohio State will. I don't care if Kyle Young's out or not. I think they'll get at least the Sweet 16. Then once they get into if they have to go play Arkansas, then that'll determine if they need Kyle Young or not. But in this region, who is your sleeper team in this region?
I've been going back and forth on Winthrop and Colgate, because everybody's on Winthrop.
Oh, here we go. Utah State's gonna. Of course, he's picking Utah State. Of course, they can't win. They can't win the Mountain West, but they're going to be a team that played in the national championship game 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. I know it's March Madness and only 11 seed. We know Jace is picking that because he's biased because his mom went to Utah State.
And, I could see it. I'll talk about my Chris Beard. He is no longer my favorite coach in college basketball anymore. I'm done with that.
What happened? What happened there?
The Texas game. 3 games in double-digit leads. Just kept throwing them away.
So now you're done with Chris Beard.
Yeah, so I'm on the Lon Kruger.
Lon Kruger. Oh man. Okay.
He's been a solid coach.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
We've
Gotcha.
for a long time. But
Gotcha.
I get the Colgate Raiders. I think
really, wow. One of my friends said that too. Colgate was pretty good.
They are. Yeah, 2018. Remember, they went off by 7 to Tennessee as a 15 seed. Their best player actually went to Cincinnati as a grad transfer last year. So he's gone from that team. But Jordan Burns can really shoot. This is a team that they're really good with the ball. They share it. They take care of it. Look, it's going to be a huge step up from competition. That's what I'm worried about in this game. But Arkansas is not great defensively. I feel like if Colgate can get some stops, they still have some key guys that were on that team for 2018. I think they very well could pull off a game against Arkansas. This is like one of the most excited first round games I'm ready for. It's like the second game, the kickoff the tournament on Friday. Like I'm excited. This is going to be a track meet. Both teams love to shoot the 3 ball. Both teams hit a lot of threes. So I'm excited. I think Colgate could do it with the way they shoot the basketball.
Yeah, we'll see there. My sleeper is Winthrop. I just think 23-1, the number 12 seed. I got them going to the Sweet 16. I got them making a run to the Sweet 16. This team definitely could make a run. I think this is the mid-major that can make a run. Looking at their record, I got them beating Villanova because Villanova's banged up. So I got Winthrop. That's my sleeper team. But Justin, what's your big upset in this region? It might be the same as your sleeper, right?
Yeah, no, actually, I am going back to Chris Beard here.
Really? Wow. You're going to make Jason's mom proud and go with Utah State?
No, I did think about Utah State knocking them out because I could definitely see that with the way Utah State can score. Texas Tech is just they just took, besides Mac McClung, they have nothing right now. But I like the way they defend. I feel like the way Texas Tech takes defense, I feel like they can win a couple games. If anybody could step up besides Mac McClung, I feel like they could go on the Sweet 16, maybe even a Elite 8 here. But they have to have the second guy. Again, Chris Beard did not really impress me. Now, one of the things is his associate coach left to go to Georgia Southern last past year. So something I'm wondering if the associate head coach was the big help for him and maybe some of his run. I don't know. I'm starting to maybe go lean that way. But I still will Texas Tech here. If they look terrible on Friday, I'm done with Chris Beard and Texas Tech. I will not be praising him anymore.
Wow. So we kind of did it in reverse with you. We did your upset pick, and then we did with the Colgate, and then we did the sleeper right there.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said upset and then sleeper. My bad. Yeah,
no, that's fine. Because I did my upset pick, and now I'm gonna do my sleeper. No, I did my sleeper. Now I'm gonna do my upset. This is gonna surprise some people. I'm going North Texas over Purdue, and here's why. In North Texas championship game, they contained a pretty good big from Western Kentucky. They contained him. And I think that, Purdue's best player is a young team. I think that happens again. And I got North Texas pulling off the big upset over Purdue.
I like that one. I really do. Because they're really great defensively. They did a good job on Bassey on Saturday night. Their issue at times is it's scoring at times. They kind of go through lulls, but I could definitely see that. Matt Painter's kind of been a guy that's, he's been vulnerable to those first round upsets. So I think it's a good one. That is one I'm still thinking about, but that's a good one, North Texas.
So who do you got winning the South region?
I got Baylor beating Arkansas. It's chalk right now. That's why I'm still kind of. But at the moment, I just think Baylor, the way they defend, again, it just forcing turnovers. The way they're shooting 40% from 3. Like, they just have so many weapons. I just feel like I don't think there's a team right now in this region. Again, if Nova was healthy, I would love to see that matchup. Just because both teams, they really play the same way. I think Baylor would beat Nova, but I'd still be really intrigued to watch that game. Arkansas, I think they can make their way there if they can knock down some shots. They can play enough defense. But I got the Baylor Bears moving on the Final Four.
Yes, I have it chalk. I got Baylor and Ohio State. I think it's going to be a great game, but I got Baylor going to the Final Four as well. The last region, the Midwest region, and to look at that region, I think the biggest story is you got, to me, the best team in the country, in my opinion, Illinois, and you got one of the best players and the consensus number one pick in Cade Cunningham. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This is the worst job the committee did it this year, was having Oklahoma State as the number 4 seed. How do you give a team that beat West Virginia, they beat Baylor, and then played Texas, who had a day off they lost to Texas, who had a day off the day before? That is absolutely ridiculous how this team wasn't a 3 seed and gets paired with Illinois. That's absolutely absurd, the seed that Oklahoma State has. They should not be a number 4 seed. They're playing better. It's not even all Cade Cunningham. Anderson's playing better. They got Isaiah Likely back. Boone's playing pretty well too. They're playing better as a team. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Oklahoma State is a number 4 seed in this bracket. Absolutely absurd. And then you look at the rest of it. You got Houston out of the AAC. And then you got West Virginia, another really good team. That's the number 3 seed. You got Tennessee, San Diego State. You got Loyola Chicago, Georgia Tech. And you got Syracuse in this bracket. But I just think it's absolutely ridiculous to have Oklahoma State as the number 4 seed. And let me tell you one thing. This is all I ask in this tournament. Could I please see Illinois play Oklahoma State? Because if I can see Illinois play Oklahoma State, I'll be more excited for that game than I'll be for the national championship game. To watch Cade Cunningham go up against the best team in the country, that's the matchup that I want to see. That is the must-see matchup in this tournament if it happens.
Really, that's up there. I would think in Gonzaga Baylor, even though I think Gonzaga's side would overwhelm them, but I want upset, so I guess I'm not rooting for that national championship.
You don't want I don't want too many. I want maybe an upset here or there, an upset that I pick. But I don't want the tournament loaded with upsets. Then it ruins the entire. It waters down the whole tournament.
I love that.
You love that. You love the tournament being watered down like that. So you like the year when Loyola Chicago made that run to the Final Four?
That's great. I love those.
They played Kansas State in the Elite Eight. No, George Mason because they beat UConn. That's why.
Yeah.
That year when Loyola played Kansas State in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
You actually like that?
Great. That's a definition of March Madness. Come on.
Definition of March Madness, but come on. It gets a little ridiculous there. I love
it. Oh, that's great. I love it. Like the Florida Gulf Coast.
We'll have that be a topic next week about upsets and stuff. We'll have that be a topic next week if we like upsets or if they're what our thoughts of upsets are in March Madness. We'll have that as a topic.
All right, I'll be ready for that one.
Yeah.
For this one, Illinois. Definitely right now. They look like the best team in the country.
See, Jace does agree with me. He says I could see Georgia Tech giving Illinois a game, but I do want to see Oklahoma State Illinois. Of course, anybody wants to see Oklahoma State Illinois because of Cunningham versus DeSumo and Coburn. They want to see that matchup.
Oh, that'd be a really exciting Sweet 16 matchup. I know in recent memories, I think that'd probably be the most exciting Sweet 16 game. Going off the top of my head, probably the last 2 years. That'd be a fun one. Loyola Chicago too, because Oklahoma State should not be a 4. I totally agree with you. I'm gonna go off for Loyola Chicago. They're Ken Palm top 10. They're an 8 seed. This team is really, really good. Do you remember Cameron Cutwick?
I know the big guy.
Yeah, the 8.
He was an All-American, 3rd-team All-American.
Yeah, 3rd team. He's great around the rim. Again, he's a guy. If Loyola can hit some shots, I think they could give Illinois a game too. I don't trust Josh Pastner at all. I know we discussed that. How Georgia Tech won the ACC tournament is just it's how bad the ACC was this year.
And they got the night off too.
They did too. That definitely helped them. Did not have to play Virginia because I think Virginia would have beat them that night, but in the semifinals. But the rest of this one, again, Tennessee's vulnerable. I think they're an upset. I do love Calvin Sampson in this Houston team. But again, this is kind of another, with the way Illinois is playing, I feel like this kind of maybe the one region where we see that once, that in the East really kind of go down here before the Final Four. I do think we're probably going to see it, even though Illinois is playing really, really well right now. That's kind of my opinion on this region, but it's I could, definitely want to see Oklahoma State and Illinois go at it.
Absolutely. So who is your sleeper team in the Midwest region?
You're probably not. You're probably gonna be shocked, but I got grumpy old Jim Boeheim in the orange.
Got Boeheim in the orange. Yeah.
This is always a spot, Again,
I know, because we've seen this with Syracuse. We saw it in 2000 and we saw it in 2013 when they got to the Final Four as a number 4 seed. I think they were in 2016. I think they were a number 10 seed that year when they got to the Final Four. So we've seen this happen. Definitely seen it happen before with Syracuse. Even 3 years ago, they upset Michigan State. So we've seen it before with Syracuse in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, for a San Diego State team that really hasn't seen the 2-3 zone like this, I think it could give them fits because they're not. Matt Mitchell is still on this team, but they're still not the greatest offensive team in the world. But the way Buddy Boeheim's shooting the basketball right now, they could be a tough out. Even though San Diego State's defense is really, really good, I really love their defense. But I could see them knocking off West Virginia too because they lost Oscar Tobias. West Virginia did. That's their big rim protector, and this is not a vintage Bob Huggins defensive team, which I love watching. And that's not that team this year. I could really see the Orange going up against Houston in the Sweet 16.
Oh wow! So my sleeper pick is and you're not gonna like this one, Georgia Tech, just because of some of the talent they have with Moses Wright and with Jose Alvarado. I think they could be a sleeper team in the tournament. Even though they're playing Illinois, they probably are the sleeper team for me in this field.
Yeah, I could see it because of the way, because how many steals they get. Again, if Illinois comes into a game loose with the ball, I can see Georgia Tech taking advantage of that and be able to knock them off. If it's a game where Illinois is really not ready to go, I could definitely see Georgia Tech here knock them off. I think they give them the game with the way they play defense.
Yeah, we'll see there. But what is your big upset in this region?
My big upset, I had Morehead State. I feel
wow! Beating West Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait. No, I had Liberty. What am I saying?
Liberty.
I had Morehead second. Liberty actually.
Liberty beating Kate Cunningham. Wow.
I think because Richie McKay is a Tony Bennett guy. They play like Virginia does. If they could somehow make Oklahoma State half-court team, they struggle to score the ball though. But this team's already won a game in March Madness. I feel like Oak State, if they could kind of slow down Cade Cunningham and make somebody else beat them, which they've been doing better of late, but still, I think Liberty is a team to watch out for. The way they play, if they can kind of keep the game in the 60s. I do really like this Liberty team. Who they beat? I think they beat they pounded South Carolina by like 16. They beat Mississippi State. They gave Purdue all they can handle. They played TCU tough. I forget the last team they played. They played a tough non-conference schedule, and they played teams tough. They played Power 5 teams tough. So I like Liberty here. 13 seed that knows how to win in this tournament. They've done it before. They've won one game before.
Yeah, we'll see. My big upset. It's not that big of an upset. It's Syracuse over San Diego State because I saw San Diego State. I saw they shot under like 30% from three in the Mountain West Championship game, and you're gonna have to shoot threes to beat Syracuse, and I don't think they're gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, I can see they that's their kind of their one weakness is shooting. They're good on the glass, but yeah, I could kind of see Syracuse knocking them off. Because their only offense really is Matt Mitchell. He's the one big guy you really got to slow down that team.
Absolutely. So who do you have winning the Midwest region?
I got I got Houston. I got the Houston Cougars.
Ooh, wow. You got Houston.
I got Houston. Now
who do you have them beating?
Oklahoma State, even though I have Liberty.
I know, yeah.
So that's why I'm like really worried. That's why I was going back and forth on Moorhead.
Yeah.
But I think if Oklahoma State can get by, I think they can knock off Illinois.
What don't you like about Illinois?
I like this team. With DeSumo and Coburn. My problem is I can't have 3-1 seats.
That's like against that's against the way you pick. You don't like you don't like the chalk at all, so you don't like taking 3-1 seats.
Yep, and then it's like I gotta find a 6 seed or something. I gotta find like a 4. I try to find like the big upsets in this thing. Until I have not made it like an official bracket yet. I'll wait till Friday morning.
And you probably have a bunch of brackets too.
Oh, I do. It's the 25 brackets ESPN gives you.
Of course. I do one. I don't like doing multiple brackets. I do one. I'm all in on one. I do one. I do 6 pools, but I do one bracket. Same bracket for each one.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to chase the perfect bracket. That's what I don't know why I'm always trying to chase that perfect bracket.
Wow.
That's why.
Were you almost close?
I've gotten to midway Saturday, perfect, and then I lost.
Oh, really? Wow.
So that's the best I've done.
Have you ever have you ever done like a great bracket?
I think 2 years ago I had Virginia winning it versus Texas State or Texas Tech. I think was kind of my best one. I think totally.
I had one year I had a really good bracket, 2012. I picked all the NBA talent, and it got me really far. It did, yeah. But, Ohio State blew that semi. Because I had Ohio State beating Calipari in Kentucky, but Ohio State blew that semifinal game against Kansas. But I had a great bracket that year.
Did you? Who'd you have in the Final Four? Do you have
I had Louisville. I had it perfect. I had Louisville, Kentucky, Ohio State, and Kansas. And the reason I did it was because I liked all the NBA talent. I love Kentucky's NBA talent. I like Thomas Robinson. I like Jared Sullinger. So I liked all the NBA talent, so I picked it. Because Louisville was like a 4 seed. I had Louisville in Florida in the Elite Eight that year because of Bradley Beal.
Really?
Yeah.
Usually that hasn't panned out the last few years.
It never does. That was the one year it panned out. And I picked it based on that, and actually one of my best brackets. But then I did the 2014. I had a terrible bracket because I picked on NBA talent.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Uconn boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With the shocker.
But but going back to who I got winning the Midwest region, I got Illinois beating West Virginia. I like West Virginia. I like Juice McBride. I like Sam McNeil, and obviously Illinois. To me, they're the best team in the country.
Near Illinois, they're playing really well. I like them. I cannot have the 3 teams in the Final Four.
For some reason, you can't. No.
I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to chase because I know it's not happening. So I'm trying to find those like 3 seeds that
Gotcha. Yeah.
Nobody's looking at.
Gotcha. So my Final Four is Gonzaga, Texas, Baylor, and Illinois. So I have Gonzaga beating Texas in the first semi, Baylor beating Illinois in the second semi, and then I'll give you the national championship after. Give me my national championship after you give me your Final Four.
So I got Gonzaga, Alabama, and I'm not going to be like the rest of the country. I got Alabama knocking off Gonzaga. I don't want to be with the rest of the country.
Wow.
And then I have Houston, Baylor.
Yeah.
And I do have Baylor knocking off Houston, even though I want to pick Houston.
Yeah, okay. All right. So now I'll give my national championship pick. I got Illinois beating Gonzaga in the national championship game.
So you're pretty much like the rest of America.
Pretty much like the rest of America. But I didn't take Gonzaga. I took Illinois.
No, you didn't. You took Illinois. I'll give you that.
I took Illinois.
I have Baylor and Bama. I have Bama winning it at the moment.
Wow. You really like Bama.
I do. But the worry is the 3-pointers. Again, this is not my final thing yet, but at the moment, I am favoring Alabama over Baylor. Yeah. I also try to find the team that is less popular as well.
Of course. That's
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So you could win. That's kind of a way to win.
Yeah. That's my thinking. That's why I look at the 3 and 4 seeds.
Gotcha.
Even though sometimes it doesn't pan out, sometimes it does.
Yeah. So it should be a great weekend. March Madness is back for the first time in 2 years. It's great to have it back, and it starts tomorrow. The first 4 games, but then everything gets going on Friday. So we're really, really excited for that. But we have to talk about some sad news at Uconn, and that's Geno Auriemma unfortunately tested positive for COVID, and he's asymptomatic, so he'll rejoin the team on March 24th. But we just hope he's okay, and he'll be and hope he'll be okay to be back on the 24th.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, I think I heard no symptoms. I think a day or two ago, which is a good sign. But yeah, hopefully he's well, gets better, can rejoin the team, and don't think they'll need him here for the first game. I think they'll be okay without him here.
They'll be fine with Chris Daly as head coach. They'll be fine.
Yeah,
they should be fine with Chris Daly as the head coach. But one final piece of news before we end the show, and that is LeBron James, a Yankee fan, is now a part owner of the Red Sox. So kind of interesting there. He's joining, the Fenway Sports Group, him and Maverick Carter as partial owners of the Red Sox. So kind of interesting there. It'll be fun. Makes them fun to see, the box at Fenway Park, seeing LeBron in that. I don't know how many games he'll go to, but seeing LeBron in that box at Fenway.
Yeah, it will. It's interesting. Is he a Yankee fan? Is he a Dodger fan? Because I know
Indian fan.
Cleveland.
Indian fan, yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe just a fan of baseball. I don't know. But yeah, this was a surprise, and I had to do like a double take to actually see it. If I my eyes just were not deceiving me. But yeah, interesting. It'll be interesting how many games he goes to. But yeah, I guess it kind of helps having some of these big time stars maybe in the game of baseball. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Interesting, but it'll make the Red Sox a little more interesting to see LeBron in the owner's box. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with RNJ. For our producer, Jace Garcia and Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking more March Madness, wrapping up NFL free agency, and talking some NBA trade deadline. So everyone, enjoy March Madness and have an outstanding weekend.
Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Can you believe it?
It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years.
Fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the world championship.
Tune in to the newest show presented by Clovercrest Media. It's Obie's Backstop Podcast. Catch it twice a week, every Red Sox series finale on your favorite podcast platform.